right, and 6 o'clock on the nose.
6 o'clock on the nose, all right. Welcome to the Sturbridge Conservation Commission for May 9th, 2024, at 6 p.m. We're in the center office building on the second floor if you'd like to join us at 301 Main Street in Sturbridge. The commission will hold this meeting in person with the option for virtual attendance. In-person attendance will be at this location. Go to meeting address, you can go on to global gotomeeting.com/join and then go to 846-062-197. And we have phone number, which is 872-240-3212. That said, we will take attendance, and we'll start. Ed Goodwin, I'm present.
Eric Gaspar, present.
Roy Bishop, present.
Carsten Stuber, present.
San Germano present.
Okay, and that, Ted is not here, okay, so that's the way we had expected it. We'll start right in.
Do you want to read the public hearing statement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body or resource area, or within the 200-foot buffer zone to a wetland, water body or resource area in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL, Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws associated regulation. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. If these items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, public hearing number 1, 605, 469A Main Street, notice of intent, geotechnical.
We're not at
We
6.
have a couple minutes, Ed, so can we move to 11? Which is the minutes. Why don't we just do the minutes before we're...
Okay.
Sorry, you have to look at the time up here, I guess, today.
So, moving to 11, to minutes for 3/7/24.
Yeah. Please.
Do I have a motion on the minutes for 3/7/24?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Yes,
Yep.
motion to approve the minutes of March 7th, 2024.
I second that.
Second? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
San Germano abstains.
Abstain. Okay. All right, what do you want to go to next?
Let's see.
Start at number 11, we're going to go home early.
You want to go to 12? That's a quick one, too.
Okay. Frost National Trail Day, land use permit request, lead mine and Heinz Farm.
Yeah, I added that after. I don't even feel like I need to take that. Did everyone get a chance to look at it? It's a request for, actually, Tom made the request. He's here in the room if you have any questions about it. It's for lead mine property in Heinz Farm.
Is the Frost?
Frost is an acronym for, Tom, do you-
Friends of Sturbridge Trails. Okay, so the Friends Group was reorganized this past January, and we want to start off, one of the primary purposes is to host events on our trail systems. And so we are partnering as part of a nationwide event called National Trails Day. It is under the auspices of the American Hiking Society. And we want to hold a series of hikes and bike rides at various properties, lead mine, Heinz, and ending up at the Riverlands that day. We'll start at 7 o'clock in the morning and end about 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Riverlands with a series of, like I said, hikes and different activities going on the 3 properties. So we're here to seek permission to use both the lead mine and the Heinz Farm property.
Tom, remind them of the date.
I'm sorry, it's Saturday, June 1st,
7 to noon?
7 to approximately 2. We're going to be lead mine in the morning from about 7 to 10. Then we've got a couple events from 10 to noon at Heinz Farm, and then we've got another event and stuff ending up at Riverland. So we'll actually only be at the properties for a couple hours. We're anticipating 20 to 25 people for the hikes and stuff, but that's a guess,
Okay.
okay?
Should we amend the application to have it go until 2 o'clock then?
We will be off of the lead mine and Heinz properties by noon.
Okay.
We only have care, custody, and control of those ones, so. I
Yeah.
guess.
Right.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure.
The
that-
selectmen have already given us permission on the Riverlands property. They did that Monday night at their meeting.
Now, you got a copy of the Fish and Wildlife?
No, I do not.
That was from previous,
This is, yeah.
that was for the bike event that we already approved
Yeah. But are we going to discuss this
later.
later? Okay, if you want to,
With regards to the land special use application for the Frost National Trails Day on June 1st, 2024, from 7 a.m. to 12 noon, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application.
I second that.
discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
St. Germain in favor.
All right. Next, we will do.
Back to 1.
Want to go to 1? Ready? Three, 469A Maine, Notice of Intent, Geotechnical and Investigations, DEP file number 300 not yet determined.
Not,
All right, Tommy?
go
Okay.
to,
Matt, you want to come up?
You can pull another chair up here.
So, members of the board, I didn't introduce myself earlier. I know there's some new people on the board. My name's Tom Chamberlain. I'm a member of the Sturbridge Trails Committee. And we are here tonight with 2 notice of intents. The first one is so we can do some geotechnical investigation for our project to connect Main Street Route 20 with a trail and bridge over the Quinnebog River to the Riverlands. And so tonight, our engineering firm, Ty and Bond, will be presenting all of the more specific parts of the project. But as you know, currently, the town is constructing a parking lot at 501 Main Street. The town owns the parcel to the rear of that, which abuts the Quinnebog River, with the number of 469A. And that's on that property, we need to access the shoreline of the Quinnebog River and to do some borings for the design calculation of the bridge footings. And then also on the Riverlands, on the opposite side of the river, we need to access that site there also for borings. So that's kind of the big overview of the project, and I'll turn it over to Matt from Ty and Bond for the presentation.
Okay,
Can I just interrupt for a second?
sure.
There is, has been proof of legal advertisement and a butter notification to open this hearing.
All right.
All right. Thank you. I'm Matt Zork with Ty and Bond. Yeah, so this figure is perfect here. So basically this, as Tom mentioned, this is just for geotech investigations at this stage. We need to do these investigations to design the bridge abutments that will be potentially located in that red spot that crosses the river there.
There is a pointer there if you need it.
Perfect.
I do have copies, extra copies of the plans if you want to see them.
Would they be,
Exactly the same as this, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the proposed bridge location, so we have a boring on either side. The boring to the north here is a little tricky to get to, this boring number 2 here. So what we're proposing to do is, there's access in this rear property, or back here, and we already talked to the property owner. We have a right of entry to go through his property, and we're gonna go to, there's actually a clearing right here, it's a National Grid right-of-way where the utility lines are, and it's already cleared. There are a couple wetlands to cross there, but we're proposing to use some timber mats. We're gonna be using a drill rig that's a tracked machine. So the plan is to put the mats down, get the drill rig out to this boring location number 2 here, and perform the boring. They would back out, get out of there, and then pull the mats out when they're done. On the other side of the river, for where it says boring number 3, this one, we're planning to use the existing trail system that is there. It's wide enough to get the machine down there. Again, it's a track machine. We'll be able to get over there. There is some limited clearing that needs to happen to raise the mast arm of the machine. We're not proposing to take any trees down or anything like that, but just limbs and maybe some branches just to get enough area for that. And that's really it for this stage of the game. We did have another boring over here, boring location number 1, but that is going to be utilizing pre-existing order conditions at that parking lot that was coordinated with the commission.
All right. Now, where's the bridge gonna cross now? Show me just so that I...
Yep, that red crossing across the river
That's
right
the
there.
bridge there?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And that treks along to the parking lot?
Yeah, so you can see that faint gray line over there. This is really conceptual right now for the actual trail on the north side of the river. That's shown in there right now. That may shift, but we're not looking to propose on that piece of the project right now. We're just trying to do the geotech investigations while we work on the design of the rest of the trail system.
Okay, so the power line goes here,
Correct.
and the bridge goes here,
Correct.
and then you trek...
Nope, not that way.
No?
To this way over here. Not the gray line. It goes to the right.
Okay.
There's kind of orange dash line, and there's the yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
This is for access.
Well, that's
Just
the
for
trail,
access,
though, is
correct.
gonna be
Yeah.
the trail, though, is gonna be the gray line, right?
The trail, the gray line is the conceptual proposed layout of the trail system. Yes. That's future. That's not.
Future.
Yep.
Now, that trail does not exist. Is that all upland?
What trail? That one?
Yeah.
No, so there are 2 wetland crossings over there too.
The greens are the ones.
The green areas.
Okay.
But right now, we're not proposing any work on kind of the left side of the page over there where the proposed trail is. We're really just trying to get to that boring location for the bridge abutment design.
Right. No, I know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did
That it?
you want me to give any information about it?
Sure.
Okay, so, I was able to take a ride out there with Tom earlier in the week. What day was that, Tom? Tuesday?
Tuesday, I believe.
Tuesday, we were able to go out on Riverlands and investigate where, boring number 3, the approximate location. Does appear that they could easily access that area without doing, much clearing or utilizing the existing trail systems. And for people that are familiar with the Village Pizza is where they're proposing basically to go in behind there in their parking area to access the area, the boring number 2 location, which is a temporary disturbance. I don't have any issues with it.
Okay.
Yes, it seems like to me that the major disturbance will be the movement of the machinery through the wetland. Like,
Yep.
is it?
Yeah, and that's why we're proposing the timber mats to go down.
Mats to go down.
Correct. Yep.
And that's the easiest access from the existing trail system?
Yeah, there's really, everything is forested over there, so we'd have to do clearing to get a machine over there, so that's why we're utilizing the existing clearing of the National Grid right-of-way that's there.
No, I'm just wondering, you
Right.
could put the bridge to the left, but that wouldn't be, because then you would have less of a trail on that side.
So the bridge site that was selected has a history that goes back approximately 8 years ago, when the town brought in students from WPI to do a feasibility study as part of their capstone project to identify potential sites for the bridge along the river. And they identified 8 sites, and in that process, we, for one reason or another, the other sites were not conducive because of other concerns, 21Es, topography, wetlands, other wetlands. So it was really narrowed down to this site. But when we come back and present to you why we picked this location for the bridge, that'll all be in that package for you to review.
Okay.
When's the work planned to be done for the borings?
As soon as we get through the permitting process, essentially.
I mean, it's wet out there, Jeff. Do we need to be concerned about time of year for this? Do we need to put a window for this work to be completed?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
mean, ideally, you'd do it in August, but last August it wouldn't have mattered.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So at this moment, I'm not sure it's a concern as long as they put the
We,
timber mats down.
the town,
Yeah,
the
there's a
the
time.
work currently being undertaken by Tying Bond is being underwritten by a Mass Trails grant, and we have to expend at least the grant funds by June 30th. So we're trying to stay on track with that if possible.
Okay. Well, if Jeff doesn't have any concerns about time of year, then
Yeah.
that was my only question. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Nothing else.
And obviously, there's no DEP file number, so we'll be continuing till the next hearing.
Well, yeah, also, we should, when is our site
And we're gonna
visit?
be putting it on the site, our next site visit schedule, which we'll have to discuss today,
Yeah.
when that will be. And I'll let the project team know.
Well, we should discuss it now so we can,
Well, it would be if we were continuing with last time when I was gone, you guys wanted to do a Monday, that would be May 20th, which is our new agent's first day. I personally would not like to do that. I would like to wait until at least she gets a day under her belt before we do that.
the
But-
22nd?
But I know if Wednesday is an option for people, then it would be the 22nd. Does anyone have a,
That would work better for me.
Carson, I know you're,
I'm not teaching anymore, but in the morning,
yeah.
hopefully, okay, I have a colonoscopy the next day, so.
yeah, ship floor? All right, so I guess our next
Oh, it
site
should
visit
be
would be May 22nd.
Yep, 9 o'clock behind
Yep.
Town Hall. All right, good.
And just one question on the site visit. There was mention of staking and stuff last time. What exactly does the commission want staked and flagged, I guess, for this site visit? We just like to know that so we can do that ahead of time.
Well, the location of the borings would be helpful. When I went out there this week, I was unable to really,
Yeah.
seeing it on a plan is one thing, seeing it in person so they can see, I know the wetland areas are flagged, but if the boring locations could be marked for this one, that would be helpful.
Okay.
And if you are going to take down any trees,
Flag that area.
that would be helpful to know as well, what tree removal would be required.
Yeah, and we can also bring an iPad out with us loaded, this figure on it, so we can show in the field where we're at too, on
Okay.
that. But we
Yeah.
could flag stuff ahead of time as well.
Perfect.
Tommy, you want a continuance till the 30th?
Yes, I would request that it be continued to your next meeting on May 30th, please.
Well, with regards to this project, at, 469A Main Street, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until May 30th.
Second that?
Any discussion? Anybody in the audience have anything to comment on this? Just before we go off of it? See no one? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Rob Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
San Germany in favor.
Great. Thanks for coming in. Thank you.
think we're next.
All right?
Yeah. Go to the
We're
next.
now on, River Road? Notice of intent, continuation of the Grand Trunk Trail and parking. DEP file number 300, you don't have a number?
Go to the second sheet. I
Okay.
think. No, third, fifth sheet. Right there is probably the easiest one to start with. Maybe the next one.
Just for the record, we have proof of legal advertisement and a butter notification to open this hearing. We don't have a file number yet for this one. I have page 5 up. Does anybody have is this a good place to start? Does anyone?
That's good to start. Yeah.
Okay.
So, members of the board, again, Tom Chamberlain, representing the Trail Committee. I put out in front of you, if you haven't seen them, because I know some members are maybe new to a lot of our trail initiatives, but I left you this brochure, which the Grand Trunk Trail is been historically, it was a rail bed that was constructed back in the early 1900s as a rail line from Springfield, Mass. To Providence, Rhode Island. Here in Sturbridge, the bed was cut and temporary bridges were put in over rivers and streams, but there was never any track laid or any ballast. There was no trains that actually went over it. The construction stopped partially in part because one of the chief financiers died in the sinking of the Titanic. So a little bit of history, but through Sturbridge, the trail connects and is currently the trail is currently constructed and complete from the Southbridge-Sturbridge Town Line at Westville Dam to the intersection of River and Farquhar Road. This particular project picks it up at that intersection and continues it on the original rail bed alignment out to Haines Street. The other parts, as you know, you can read in the brochure, there is a section we have completed on the Riverlands, about 2,000 feet, and the section from Holland Road to Riverview Ave is complete and in place. So we're working in the center section of Sturbridge, and this being part of it. The next phase after this would be dealing with Mass DOT and determining how we can modify the road network bridge flyover to include a shared use path along the bridges over Interstate 84 to our existing trail parking lot at the back gate of Old Sturbridge Village. So that, we're working in sections and phases, and so this is one phase, and the next phase will be working with Mass DOT. Future phases would be bringing it from the parking lot somehow along Old Sturbridge Village Access Road out to Stallion Hill Road, and then bringing it down along the side of Stallion Hill Road. So there's, we're taking small bites at a time here to do this, okay? This particular property, there's two properties. One is 9 Riverview River Road, and the other one is 1 River Road, which is the Paw Plaza, the old stone Hebert's Candy Mansion. But a part of the trail is on that property, and the rest of it, because of the boundary lines, zigging and zagging, is all on 9 River Road. And both people have granted us easements. The easements were voted and accepted by the town at the last special town meeting in January. And the project does include not only the trail, construction of the trail, but a 10-car parking lot, which is indicated on this plan. So that's kind of the big picture. Again, our engineering firm is Ty and Bond, and I will let them continue with more of the details of the presentation.
Thank you, Tom. Matt Zork with Ty and Bond. So as Tom alluded to, there was kind of easements already set when we got brought into this project, so that the trail alignment and the parking area was kind of defined already, so we just had to design within that box. And so essentially we have a 10-foot wide gravel path from Farquhar to Haines Road, and then there's a spur that comes off that goes to the gravel parking area. It's about 2,100 feet of gravel path. There will be some, timber rails or three-rail wood fence at the side of Farquhar Road because there's kind of drop off on either side. We'll be connecting to, on Farquhar, there's already a trail that kind of goes to the connection point there. We'll be putting a new crosswalk in to connect to this new trail.
What's that? Can you point to that?
Yep, that is on Farquhar over here.
Right.
So the trail kind of goes down the pavement and on the shoulder there, and then we'll be connecting from there to get it across with a new crosswalk to our proposed path.
Yep, 103.
The parking lot area, if you want to go to maybe C10, oh, yeah, that's that section there, correct. So there'll be a new RFB signal here with push buttons for people to cross. There is some wood guardrail or fencing here, or bike rail along that section, and then it stops. This section is within the National Grid easement here, and then we have a spur that comes out to the parking lot this way. So if you want to go to sheet C104.
Now that's above the stream?
Correct, yep. So this is our proposed parking lot layout. We have a little bit of a paved entrance here for the driveway, but the rest of it is all gravel. We have some concrete here for a handicap accessible spot. We have an infiltration basin over here for stormwater, and we have a little berm over here to divert stormwater around the parking lot to avoid, erosion washing out of the parking space itself. Like Tom said, I believe there's 10 or 11 parking spots located here. We chose this location. I don't know if you can see, but the topography kind of gets steep on this side. So to move a driveway any further would really kind of hinder some sight lines and have some significant grading cutting into the hillside. And if we went any farther to page right here, we'd be further within buffer zones, riverfront area. So we tried to move it as far, I guess, page left as far as we could, but still kind of a nice access road into the driveway. With that, it's a fairly straightforward project, but open for any questions.
Okay.
And I'm sorry if with the blue line indicates what buffer zone?
Yeah, you
That's
can
the 200-foot riverfront area.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I do have additional plan sets if any of you would like a copy to look through.
Yeah,
There's
very much.
multiple pages on this one.
Can we look at the, there is one map, there is, I didn't take the number, is GTT Central Section that has a preferred trail and several alternate.
Do you know what page?
I don't remember the
C-
page number.
At the very bottom on the right, it should say C dash
Oh
something.
yes, but I took a picture from the screen.
Oh, okay.
It's like the document was so
Oh, okay.
comprehensive that I couldn't upload. It's a color one that has the wetlands and the different trails. It's more about the trails than.
This one has buffer zones on it.
Is it a trail map that you're
Yes, a
looking?
trail
Oh,
one.
a trail map. Did we?
I'm not familiar, what trail map are you looking at? Bill?
Oh, I can show you. If I can it's like
This is all I have.
that's the different.
Oh, that has a background map, just a sort of publicly available USGS topographic map, and those wetlands don't match our, they don't necessarily
Yes.
represent what's on the ground.
Okay, yes,
What we
that's
have
because
on
that
these
was
designs.
my question in terms of like the three proposed trails, like which one you were leaning towards and the reason behind.
Oh, does that go back to the trail?
Feasibility.
Yeah, the different, like when you guys did the study of the trail.
Oh, you mean, are you
Yeah.
referring to the feasibility study, Flo?
It's the same study, and it's a map that has a preferred trail marked in red that goes near the wetlands, and then a second alternate trail that goes through a power line, and then connects
So that,
So we had a feasibility study done a few years back, okay? And so it was from that, the feasibility study was to look at what it would take to complete the trail from the intersection of River and Farquhar Road all the way to the Riverlands at 52 Stallion Hill Road. So the feasibility study set out some alternatives and some options, but then we reviewed those as we moved forward with where we're at tonight before you,
Okay, yeah.
okay?
So for,
So
just
we're-
like for reference, like to me, like this one that is shown here, would that be the one that goes through the power line?
This one follows the power lines for about 1,000 feet.
Yeah, about
And then it turns off the power lines, away from the wetlands, and stays more in the upland area of 9 River Road.
Excellent, thank you. Yes. Yes, I wanted to be sure that this match, like, how did it match with the other one? Thank you.
Now, the house is still there, right?
The abandoned house is still
And the
there,
house is
yes.
still- What's going to be happening to that?
With our last conversation with the property owner, she indicated a desire to have it removed and working with removing it. And we offered to, Brandon and I offered to assist her with figuring that out and helping her out do that.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Go ahead.
so some of the parking lot is, and some of the trails are under no structure and no disturbance zone? Do I see that right or not?
based on some of the guidance that we had received from, I think, from Aaron, we put those buffer zones off of the 200-foot riverfront area. And so if that is accurate, then yes, some of the parking lot will be within those zones.
Would the committee like to do a site visit? Take a look at this? I'm not getting any response.
We're going to need to ask for a continuance because we don't have a DEP
Yeah.
file number anyway, so.
So then we can like go and
Take
have a
look
look.
at- Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it after the other one that we're
Yeah.
doing anyway, if that works for you guys too.
Yeah, that would be great.
So just out of curiosity, to piggyback on the question, with the buffer zones that are shown here, do we encroach on the 50-foot in any area?
I think so. I mean, it says,
Well, the existing rail bed that we're staying on
Yeah.
is, yes, within various, I mean, it goes right over one of the streams,
the parking lot.
so.
But it wouldn't be
But
like
the
further
parking lot's in
disturbance.
The parking lot, no, the parking,
It's within the 200-foot buffer, that's what I was
The
thinking.
rail bed is amazing.
But there's no new
Really
disturbance within,
strong and well-made.
is there
I would
additional
like to be sure
disturbance?
that it's
outside of
to that
removing
area.
the grass and replacing with gravel, that would be the only activity.
I actually think
Yeah.
that there's,
200 feet.
maybe we misspoke, because there's not a 25-foot off the 200-foot buffer. There's a 25-foot off of the wetland or a river, not off of the buffer of 200 feet. So I think when you're looking at this, these lines might be confusing to you.
Yeah, I think they are.
Blue line is representing of the 200-foot riverfront,
Yeah, so,
and everything outside of that would not even be in
I know,
jurisdiction.
the only stream you have to worry about is the one that comes down out of
Pine Lake,
Pine Lake.
right.
Well,
And that's-
there are two stream crossings. We have that one at Pine Lake, and then right just before we enter Haines Street, which is actually we're not even going to be on top of it, but we're definitely going to be within your jurisdictional buffers, there is a stream that comes from a pond between the north and southbound lanes of 84 and drains into that wetland crossing underneath that existing driveway.
Goes into the well, drains into it, or?
It drains into the wetlands closer to the river.
Right.
The pond there's actually a pond between the north and southbound lanes of 84 in that area, and the stream actually generally flows north towards the river.
I think this is ideal for a site visit. Sure. I mean, when you look at when you get in there and look at the definition of the rail bed, it's pretty solid. you know.
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, we're just,
Plus, we can take the dog and get a doggy,
you know, if I can take Carly with me, I'm all for it, so let's go.
Just check for ticks, though.
I would just recommend we go get some eyes on it at our site visit and then go to the next hearing.
Sure.
Lynn, how you doing?
Good. Did River Road come up yet?
We're talking about coffee at your house on Wednesday, and then we're gonna walk the trail. Come on in and sit down.
I think we should just go to public comment next, if you'd like.
What?
See if anybody in the public would like to talk on it.
Could we jump in just really quickly, and same with the previous project?
Yeah.
What would you like us to have flagged in anticipation of that site visit? So other than the proposed area for the parking lot,
That would be it. I don't think anything more.
I mean, as long as the trail is following an established rail bed that we can identify, then, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the same thing, we'll bring the
Yeah.
iPad with us too, so you can see real time where we're at and
Well,
plans.
yeah, and you guys will be on site, so, yeah.
Any other questions? Any from the audience?
Yeah, just wondering, is that gonna come
Can you-
down River Road where you're gonna park it?
Can you identify yourself?
And go to the microphone so that
Yeah, can you?
Sure. I'm just wondering, talking about River Road, and I live on River Road, is that gonna be like right across from the campground, or?
It's on the other side of the street.
That's what I figured. You're
Yeah.
gonna be right in front of my house probably, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know where you live.
I live by the campground,
Yeah.
and I used to get a butters notice every time they did something, but then, Puppy gave me some crap at one of these meetings, and I haven't gotten a butters notice since. And, there's been a lot of things they've done down, all kinds of construction down there, opened up things, and, light coming in, more light coming in my yard, and, more noise. So I'm kinda like, I really don't want more stuff across the road from me and behind me, in front of me, everything else. If you look at that campground, it's become like a city now. It's not even, I mean, they leave the lights on all night, they shine into my house, and now you're gonna build something right across the road from me where people can look in my yard and everything else. I just wanna move out of there.
Well, I don't know if there's gonna be any lights with this. If that's your
No, but
question.
you can have a lot of people from the campground down there hanging out all night long and making noise and doing what they do. Like over there, they don't think they have to go to bed because the lights are on all night. They don't ever shut them off.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you spoken to anybody in the town about that?
I've spoken to a lot of people, I've called a lot of people, and they always say, try this one, try that one. No, we can't do nothing about it. But there's bylaws against some of this stuff, like the lights coming in my windows. There's bylaws against that. There's a lot of light coming in my window. I can show you some pictures right here if you want to see
Yeah.
them.
Of the campground?
Of the light coming in my windows, and,
Yeah, I don't know that it's relevant to this meeting,
oh.
because we're not planning on, there's no lighting.
It's gonna be more like, I've already got the whole front yard, which you might think is my backyard, but the front of my house faces the campground. It used to be the same driveway, you know, he's talking
really?
about
Yeah.
history. Back in the day, that was all one place.
Yeah,
So everything they built, and they built right around me. I got campfires all around me, besides that, so all the smoke comes in my yard like a chimney. And now, I just get all kinds of noise and everything else. And now you want to build a parking lot across the street from my house again. So now, but the place where I basically had a little bit of privacy, I'm not gonna have any privacy at all.
what to say. You didn't get a notification of this?
I got a notification for this. I haven't got a
Oh, okay.
notification for anything else they've done at that campground over the years.
Well, this is the only thing we're discussing here.
I know, but it's like, why haven't I'm the main abutter. I mean, I'm right there. They're doing it in my front yard, and this is the only notification I've gotten in years.
Well, that's what it is.
So we are the good guys.
Huh?
We are the good guys.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping so. I mean,
So if there's any active work being done, especially if it's inside of a wetland, that you haven't gotten an abutters notice.
I
on,
haven't gotten any.
We should, you know,
They've put more,
we should alert Erin so she can alert us,
okay,
is the point.
they've put more
Sorry, Erin,
little
but
cabins in there and everything else, and I just
some
woke
of
up
it
and
may
it's
be
like-
permitted work, It may have just been under the old permit, but if there's any new work going out on there, if they're removing any trees in a wetland or whatnot, we
More
want
and
to
more
know about
lights
it.
every year, more and more buildings there, and they're all looking at my house, and then when they come in, they got everything lit up. They don't shut the lights down at night, they don't shut them down all year long. You get campers in there, every camper has a light on it, so it's all, it's like a big freaking New York City, nobody thinks they have to go to sleep at night. I can't open my windows, there's too much smoke and everything else, and noise, and now I'm gonna have this across the street, more traffic, more
Yeah.
big stuff coming in and out, and
Yeah.
I don't know, just say my piece, and
No,
I know I should probably mail something in, but if you could look at some of these, maybe I can get one of yours to see what I'm talking about.
Right.
Got some pictures of some of the stuff, like my windows where the light comes shining through, and it says right in the bylaws that it's not legal.
Well, that's the campground.
Yeah.
That's the campground, and that's who you have to,
We don't have jurisdiction over that.
yeah.
Well, you did though, didn't you?
Yeah, we didn't approve it.
You didn't
Never
approve
been, we've never, we're still in court with them.
it? Okay.
So that's how,
He's in court.
what?
I mean,
No, it wouldn't relate to wetlands.
no. Well, the wetlands, that's right next to my house there.
Yep, we know where it
They
is.
never had things over, now they've got a campfire every place over there. They've got them going all around my house, and from the northeast, I think, it just goes this way. So everything else, I mean, you can't open the windows in the frickin' summer.
Maybe one of the things that we can ask Tegan Bond is, can you show here the visibility of that parking lot from across the street? It will have some trees or something. as
Well,
the
the parking
visibility.
lot, the parking lot, as you can see, is set back.
Yes, exactly.
And we've kind of, because of the topography, we've kind of tucked it a little bit behind the hill.
Yeah.
So it's below, and, we didn't want to, that's why one of the things, when we started, we said in trying to fit it and take in every consideration, if we moved it, and cut it, to relocate it to get it out of the riverfront, we definitely would have been taking down more trees directly in front of Mr. Morse's house.
Yeah, so I'm correct understanding that the road is here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be just the view from across the street will be just the entrance and the.
And then you can
parking
see
lot
how
will
it's
be-
tucked behind the hill and the topography lines, because the road actually climbs a little bit of a grade.
And is that the tree that's got the red dot on it? The big red dot on it now? We marked it?
That's probably a locust point.
No, it looks like somebody painted it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's nothing we've painted.
I don't think we painted a tree.
We didn't, it's nothing we've done.
Okay.
Unless it's a tree marked for removal from,
Yeah,
the Mass Electric, I know it was
the red
more
dot.
aggressive with tree removals to protect their
Yeah.
wires, so. That's the only other dots I've ever seen on trees.
I'd check with DPW on that. That would be where,
I'm not a big fan of it, right
What?
there. I'm not a big fan of it right there, but I mean, I'm just one guy, but, I mean, my house has just been surrounded with everything from the campground, now we're gonna have that there, and, I live in the country for crying out loud.
okay. Well, we're gonna be out there on
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, we did look
See
at,
the site.
before we picked this spot,
Yeah.
we did look at other alternatives, and one was, could we come in off of Haynes Street and utilize an area up closer to Haynes Street? And the issue we have there is the requirements of building a shared use path, which is what we're building, requires that the path have its own designated space, and then the driveway in and out to meet town bylaw considerations needs to be 20 feet wide. And coming out on the Haynes Street, the existing paved driveway is only 10 to 12 feet wide. So we would have had to add approximately 20 more feet
Yeah.
of clearing and disturbance in that area to, and again, much, you know, one side of that driveway drops right off into a wetlands. So it was, you know, balance of trying to find the best alternative.
Well, we got a site
But
visit.
you can see all of that when you go out on the
So,
site
yeah, on the
visit.
site visit, so we'll plan on that. Anybody else have anything to say? Yep.
My name is Nicholas Iozo, 72 Farquhar Road, right on the backside of this project on Farquhar. I have a few questions, comments, and concerns. One is, I have a trail that goes right up to my house from the point that the trail is going to be entering on the power lines. Am I going to be in charge of posting all that so I don't have foot traffic coming my way?
As it comes to your land,
Yeah.
you would have to post your land to
Alright.
keep people out.
Well, because there's an existing trail, so I just
Yeah.
wasn't sure if
Yeah.
that was gonna be something
Yeah.
part of the plan, blocking off the trail, or if that was gonna be
Yeah.
up to me. Alright. Secondly, I went online and reviewed a lot of these plans. There was some actual photos on there. Basically where the rocks are stacked, there is an indentation going into the woods there. Is that going to be the driveway, or are you guys going further up? I was kind of confused on that, because from what I read, it kind of sounded like you guys were going to go 100 to 200 feet up the road, but the actual photos I saw were of those rocks that are lined up. And those rocks that are lined up are right on top of the stream there.
Yeah, so we're using, basically, on Farquhar, there's existing
I'm
clearing.
talking about on River Road,
On
where the
River?
driveway is going to go into the parking lot.
Oh, that,
The photo that we included in the application was just representative of what the reach along River Road looked like, and it wasn't at the exact location of the parking lot entrance.
Okay,
Yeah. So we'll be flagging that out before the site visit.
all right.
For the commission to
Because,
see.
yeah, where those rocks are lined up, you're within feet of that stream, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that as well.
We're, as you probably saw, the blue line represents
Yes.
the 200 feet from the stream.
Yeah,
So we're really between 150 and 200 feet
okay,
from the stream, but we'll have it better flagged.
all right,
Yeah.
cool. And then, yeah, other than that, I'm glad the trail is
Yeah,
hopefully
good
going to move in.
questions. Have you gone the other way?
I have. I hike it all the time.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
Looking forward to another section. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, then, yes.
Richard Bouvier, 21 Crescent Way, Fiscal.
Yeah.
And sorry to be late to the meeting, but so this may have been covered. Just a question of consideration. Is this parking lot going to be lit at night, or is there any artificial lighting? So it will be totally dark at night? Okay, just in my thoughts.
You've seen them around. If you go up,
Yeah.
up Stallion Hill.
Yeah, I just
Hines
wanted to
and
make
those.
that,
They're
because
not-
I
they're not
maybe missed
paved
that
and they're not-
specification,
oh,
so I
yeah.
think that affects, what might be one bothersome aspect of it, so good to know. So, and by the way, I'm a very old bicyclist, so I look forward to this.
You can go with my wife and I.
Might not be able to keep up.
Anybody else?
With regards to the project on River Road, would you like a continuance?
We request a continuance,
Yeah.
please?
Till May 30th?
May 30th, yes.
With regards to the project at River Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until May 30th.
Second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Board Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Send your money in favor.
Thank you very much.
One last comment, I did leave a few of these on the desk in front of Ed. If you haven't familiarized yourself with all of our trail initiatives in town, this is the book to see. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you doing? Excited?
One of those.
I haven't been yet down yet this year, but hopefully I can catch up on some of my projects. No, I guess
I'm just letting me, I think, on Mondays.
Yeah.
They don't have what to know about that.
Robin, the town administrator, Robin's rep, if you wanna reach out to her.
Down in the corner of the pond.
I would just let you know, see, especially with that, like,
Here, you're on my
pollution
phone.
feature review. I don't know what can be done, but if you hear a chainsaw going on, you know, interrupt your
Do, yeah, every now and then.
know, so we can look at it.
If you,
Nice presentation.
I would think this budget is not gonna have any negative impacts on you, because there's not gonna be any really like single. It's
Thanks.
only we'll get it's not to the trail scale. It's generally a lawsuit against this guy. Usually you'll have the person who's out there with the lane.
his lot's right up
That
against
person's
it.
walking
Right there.
so there's not a lot.
Yeah, but you said there's still an ongoing lawsuit?
Yeah,
I had to get the
your name's on it. No.
Did you have these
All
notes?
right, we need to move along, as the Celtics came on.
Exactly. Talking about the ones with the bike lane. I was talking about this, my son.
Eric, we're gonna move along.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, we are at 6:25. At 46 Hall Road, notice of intent demolition of a building. DP file number, we don't have a number.
All right, if you guys wouldn't mind moving the conversation out of here so that they can hear. Thank you. I have proof of legal ad and a butter notification to open the hearing. Just for reference, we do not have a DEP file number.
All right. We don't have a DEP file number, there's not really a lot of discussion to go on. Did everybody get a chance to look at the site?
There were a few questions at the site walk about edge of pavement, edge of walkways and things. We did receive this revised plan. I don't know why it's giving me all these notes on here. I'm sorry, I apologize. But he did provide me a revised plan noting all those areas that we discussed on the site. Is the bridge staying? Bridge is staying.
The bridge is staying, yes.
Yep.
Is there an old septic system on that property?
It's tied into sewer. Whether,
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I have to
Didn't
check
answer my
this.
question yet.
Until which time they pull the demolition permit, we would go to the sewer department because we have to look at in the Board of Health, but we have not determined whether or not that septic is.
Please check that out.
Sure, yes.
All right.
It's pretty straightforward. I don't have any questions.
You do know once you demolish it and you want to rebuild, you will not be able to rebuild there?
Sure, I've spoken with the applicant about that. It's a non-utilized building for them, more of a liability to keep it there. They have been in discussion with the planning board at one point in time. They were trying to see if Habitat for Humanity was, or some organization would have taken the building for use. Obviously, they don't want it there, so.
Like a good buildings.
Yes, I know. And last but not least, I know they've been talking with the recreation committee or department. The town does have some conservation land adjacent to this that there's not really access to. So there's been some discussion about utilizing this parking areas, the driveway areas there for a potential parking lot to access those trails. I think there was even discussion about potential for a dog park there. But again, they don't have a use for the building, and at this point in time, it's a liability for them, so they've decided to remove it.
Okay. Eric, you have any questions?
Nope.
Roy, you good?
Wanted to buy it?
They don't, they still want the property, obviously.
want
They
the
just,
property.
they just don't want, they just don't want the building.
I don't have any questions.
Public ed, no?
You know, I'm going to say it one time, and you know this, so if you tear it down, you're subject to our today's regulations.
Yes.
It's closer to the wetland, then we will allow you to go.
Right.
Okay, as long as you, I don't want,
I did have that discussion. There's been a change of management over there that will get this information as well. And so this, the order of conditions will be good for 3 years, I take it. So it is a notice of intent that's their intent today, but if they change their mind, they
Yeah,
change their mind. Right. But I do appreciate that insight.
Anybody in the audience like to speak to this? Seeing none?
Would you like a continuance until the 30th?
Yes, please.
Well, with regards to the project at 46 Hall Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until May 30th.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Saint Germain in favor.
All right,
Great. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, we are now on to 29, 30, 31 Mount Dan Road. Notice of intent, fence, driveway, DEP file number 1192, and I understand this is...
Today, we received a written request to continue to our May 30th meeting.
Okay. Was there a reason with it?
Yes, because staff had asked the applicant to provide a narrative of the changes that were made to the plan, and they weren't able to provide that ahead of time, and they also wanted to work on, the plan had showed some work on an adjacent property, which they wanted to change the
You
scope
want to
of
get
work-
off the neighbor's property?
scope of work on the neighboring property.
Yeah,
So,
all right. We knew
We did
that.
receive a revised plan showing which trees on the opposite side where the garage was that were to be removed and what was to be kept. But that was we did not receive anything else that we had discussed in
Yeah.
the field.
Well, I think we should get a whole plan. Not a partial. And, okay. Continuation?
All right. Well, did they ask until the 30th?
30th, yep.
Well, with regards to DEP file number 300-1192 at 29, 30, and 31 Mount Dan Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until May 30th.
I
Brian?
second that.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Saint Germain abstain.
Thank you. We are now at 645, 274 Big Allen Road. Continued notice of intent, repair of an historic boat notch. EP file number 300-1186. Jenny, how you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So where do you stand? Did you get somebody to, you said you
Okay,
were going to get an
so,
expert.
yes, as requested by the Commission DEP, I submitted the contractor's calculations and methodology. I think you all have those. Yes?
They were provided to the commission, yep.
Okay.
They were under the documents on the web page that,
Oh,
I can bring them up.
Well, that would be good.
yeah.
Yeah, I did notice when I was reviewing some of the things online, there's an awful lot of package and packet and pictures and things that never made it online.
By the way, did DEP comment on anything of this?
That was from, not this meeting, but previous meeting.
Or did they,
Yeah.
remind me, did they comment on anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did they say?
Do you have a copy?
Here you go, this is the DP file number. Why is it taking so long to turn up?
It very much echoes Becky's comments from her last. Hoorah.
These are the comments.
You have a Chapter 91 license?
That was my initial submission back in September. You all asked me to change it to a shoreline wall repair on December 7th.
The water quality
The May 9th meeting
Yeah.
documents. That's for today. We received this DEP file number back when she was before us the last time. So that's why it was not provided today. The documents that she provided, I can also put up if you would like.
Yep, put it up.
Okay. This is the May 9th meeting docs.
Who's that respectively?
Oh, that's me. Respectfully.
Yeah, respectively.
That's her.
So,
Go to the next page.
the map that you provided,
Then this is a letter from, I'm assuming, the contractor that she would be interested in doing the work.
we have a letterhead for this?
Yeah, it's on ground effects.
28 feet long, 14 feet wide, 390 square feet.
There was what?
There's another page.
There is another page, which is an email correspondence.
From Ecotech.
So you didn't get an engineer, you didn't get Mark Farrell or anybody there?
No, because I went to Ecotech, and he discussed it with Scott Jordan, showed them the paperwork, the pictures, and they say I am well below the thresholds for both a habitat and a 401 study.
But I didn't see any clear delineation. The picture that you showed us was really clear from 1920.
You were on the site walk, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would like to see some measurements somehow.
I think you got the measurements from the contract.
Yeah, but no plan, no nothing. I mean, we normally have kind of plans, and I mean, I don't know.
I think you had a plan when I submitted the NOI
No,
for
not really.
the Chapter 91. Do you have all those records?
Didn't see any plan. Do you see anything like this?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see. I mean,
I can give you some of them now because they should be all online.
The last
Available
time
to
that
you.
she was here before us, we've reviewed everything that she provided.
Yeah,
This is the
we've
only-
reviewed everything
This is the only
provided.
new
You've
information
seen
that I
the
have.
plans, you've seen the...
Challenge, Jeff, I'm looking for a little bit of counsel here. We know there's a difference between an engineer and a contractor. Contractor's trying to sell the job, the engineer has an actual stamp and a license that they need to protect, and they have standards of ethics that they need to follow. And the engineer's guidance with that stamp implies credibility to us that we can take their word for it. Ground Effects has been in front of us many times. I have no reason to doubt their professionalism in this case. But if you don't have an engineer's stamp and you don't have an engineer's education, it seems to me I'm concerned with the calculations from a contractor's perspective versus an engineer's perspective, and that's what I keep getting stuck on. And I also get really, really hinky with, I like documentation and I like transparency. Redaction, I feel like I'm dealing with the federal government and the CIA, but that's a separate thing. From your seat, as an engineer, should I be concerned about taking the word of a contractor versus having a professionally engineered stamped plan in front of me?
Just to bring you up to speed, a engineered plan has been submitted previously by Norman Leathers. That should be in the record somewhere. You also have the DEP sounding map that should be in your record someplace from 1923.
but
This
that-
shows
That's not-
the exact
That's not what he's asking
parameters.
for.
That's not what I'm asking.
I
We
think
saw
there-
this one, but that doesn't show any measures.
You also, if you want to scroll back in your records, would you please pull up the 1943, 1944 engineer maps?
That's not what
Okay.
Eric's asking for, though, right? Are you looking, we already had
I'm
that.
looking for calculations from this century,
But show,
preferably.
give me the measurements of the 1923.
But based on what is sitting there at this moment, right?
Right.
Well, you've got that from ground
effects.
effects.
Or a survey showing you were asking almost for a survey showing what is existing today, so that you have something to base on what it is today versus what it possibly could have been back in 1923. But I think you're really looking for what it is today, because you have multiple issues. You've got the Wetland Protection Act and you have your local bylaw.
Yep.
And disturbance within 25 feet is not allowed. And if it's been back to natural grade or back to earth now, wetlands only goes back for a couple of years, and then once you get beyond that, it's no longer considered
Grandfather.
grandfather.
It's not
And that's-
grandfather.
That's the dilemma that you're in. You need to have something that shows something so that they can justify why they're allowing, because technically it's dredging within, into an old, a waterway that used to be there that isn't there, and you don't know how long it hasn't been, not been lands underwater.
It is underwater during high water season. When the lake is not in drawdown. You'll also see, if you came up and looked at it now, the water's been so high that some of all the mud and debris is gone back into the lake. It's not even, doesn't even look the same as it did when you were there on November 29th.
Well, from my,
Intent is to improve the wetland, okay? I have always come before the commission, done my own work.
I take you at your word, right?
I'm
But
not
you
too
don't have
sure
it-
you
you
do.
don't have an engineered stamp. I
know you
like
do.
the education and the engineered stamp that comes along with it, and I do have a recency bias. I'll admit that.
Can you
So-
cite someplace that tells me I have to get that for you?
We're looking for the calculations to validate from an engineer.
see, we need,
You have been
From
given
an
calculation.
engineer.
You have accepted this man's calculations for docks, for shoreline walls, for many other projects. There's an elephant in the room that I'm going to address very shortly.
But I have a question. I don't see it grandfathers. So what you're doing is you're digging into the lake. I don't see how you improve the lake, because whether or not debris is clearing up there, the debris comes from somewhere, it will go somewhere else. I don't think you do.
Or the erosion from the mud,
I don't think that you do the lake any
or the
favor.
dead fish, or the plastic that gets stuck
So
in there.
but what's the difference? Anybody could come and say, "Oh, I want to dig up the lake because I would like to have a
I don't think so.
boat."
I think it's obviously a shoreline wall. It's on maps, it's on things that have been given to you.
But it wasn't there for, what, 50 years?
It's still
So
there
it's
now.
nature, you interfere with nature. And my question is, why should that be an improvement? I
And
don't see it.
Ecotech says
It's
I'm
a
not
dra-
interfering with enough of nature for it to be an
Eco-
issue.
Yeah, but that's where we get into the problem. Ecotech that person doesn't have any degree on.
Excuse me?
Is an engineer, but
Let's-
they didn't
let's-
put their
let's look a
stamp
little
on a
further.
plan.
Okay.
Right, so
I
an
want to-
email,
Okay.
right,
Let's go
with-
down to the
with
signature
redactions.
page.
But
An
I
email with
want.
redactions is not
so I-
a stamp on
Aaron,
an
would you
engineered
please
plan.
scroll down?
To this part?
Down to the
It's
signature.
stretching.
Okay, Mr. Stuber.
Okay,
Okay,
we're
can I
not,
say
we're
something,
not getting
please?
anywhere
Yeah.
with this. What?
It is, on the Wetlands Protection Act, it is up to the applicant to show us all the resource areas and the impacts that have been provided. I cannot, as a professional, I can't see that in this. We asked at the last meeting that we have the information provided, and I don't know that we've received that.
I don't know what you're basing your questions on, okay? And I am going to address a couple of things, if I may, before I ask for a continuance.
Yep.
Okay. I have the utmost respect for what you people do, and I share the desire to protect the wetland resource area. You visited my property. It is one of the most natural, untouched acreage and frontages on Big Allen. I've been the steward of 400 feet of shoreline and almost 7 acres of wooded backlands and the pre-1923 boat notch since 2004. This is the remaining 1909 Rice family property. I've properly involved Sturbridge Conservation for every related activity I have done, from the removal of the original camp and 2006 new residents, and accompanying timely and properly registered certificate of compliance, to seeking and receiving written approval for all dead tree removals, leaving all stumps, to seeking and receiving both the town and DEP approvals for my cantilever dock in 2012-2013. I have done the applications myself and always complied with all the agent and commission conditions. In September 2023, I filed a Chapter 91 application, 23-WW-PRE-0116-APP, for the restoration of the boat notch. This is now an area adversely impacted by recent higher water levels and new large boat waves, which have created increased shoreline erosion and trapping of trash and dead fish. I invited the agent Rebecca Gendro to view the area, accomplished on October 16th of 23. As I understood allowable within Sturbridge bylaw 365-3 and 365-6.2, parentheses A.1-C, and is common practice for the lakefront owners during lake drawdown, I raked and removed debris from the dry notch prior to the Commission's 11/29/23 site visit, obviously with no effort or intent to hide illegal activity, but intending to enhance your view of the area. The pictures were submitted on 12/7. They don't appear on any files that are on the website, that show the very limited amount of growth that was there in September, October, November, when it died, and then what it looked like when you were there. For the December 7th meeting, I extensively researched and submitted a succinct narrative in an effort to be efficient and clear. One of the commission's members, Eric Gasper, was offended by both of my labors and harshly chastised me in the public meeting. My 6 and 10-year-old granddaughters were watching the live presentation. They perceived this encounter and my response as a female, a senior citizen, and a town resident, as a person standing up for herself. I take issue with this commissioner's behavior. I have revisited the actual 12/7/2023 meeting on the Sturbridge cable site and found the online minutes missing some important information. These minutes state that the agent indicated she had discussed removal of vegetation with me and then with undeclared staff on 10/16/2023. These are your minutes. The minutes further state that I had been told that would be a violation. These statements do not appear on the live video. This is concerning a discrepancy between what was actually said at the meeting and its printed minutes, as well as my recollection of her conversation with me on site October 16th. Additionally, at this meeting, but not in its minutes, it was suggested as a judicious move that I refile this project under local WPA authority and Sturbridge bylaws as a limited shoreline activity to be assisted by the then conservation agent, Rebecca Gendro. Neither the redirection or my acceptance appear in the minutes, but it is viewable on the video version and is acknowledged in the 1/4/2024 detailed agenda. I have been fortunate to get out on Big Alum already this spring. I see many changes ongoing that you have permitted and supervised. Throughout town, the commission handles many complicated and sophisticated projects. This is not one. This is an effort to improve and protect a small part of a greater resource area. Yet instead of guiding and assisting me to complete this activity timely and effectively, you have enhanced the degree of difficulty and expense. With respect, I must present concerns regarding the motivations of and challenges presented by some individuals in the department and on the commission. I have successfully supported and preserved my private property rights recently in Mass Land Court 16 MISC 000348. A 5-year endeavor. This case affected some of you directly, indirectly, or your friends, relatives, or your undertakings, particularly those involved in the trails. At this juncture, I formally request that any of you improperly influenced will recuse yourselves from further discussions or votes. I have copies for all of you.
And what is this in reference to?
Mr. Stuber, you perhaps were not one of the individuals that is unduly influenced.
Okay.
I ask for continuance till next October.
But can I just say something?
24?
Because it's not a question of your particular project, it's a question of how we in general approve of projects. That is, we always
I
have...
invite any and all of you for a boat ride, and show me what success you've had on the lake.
No, but if you look at our applications that...
Save it. I'm really not up for this either.
I wasn't
You were not part of
all
it?
the,
I know
all
you-
the discussions, but would it be possible to compile the information, all the information? I was trying like to go backwards. I know that I cannot vote on Wouldn't be it. able to vote on it.
Yes, I
anyway.
cannot vote on it, but I'm interested in reading further.
You can always watch all the tapes.
Okay.
That doesn't make you qualified to vote.
No, I cannot vote.
But as a former member of, or present member of the occupied land, whatever it is, you're Clarkie too, I graduated from Clark. Open space, right? Are you on open space?
I'm still in open space.
Okay. Well, there seems to be an awful lot of backyard discussions. I'm not sure all of you are involved. I know some of you are.
Ginny, there's October 3rd and October 24th.
Let's do the 3rd.
October 3rd.
I'm going to say the same thing I told you the last time, because I'd like to see you succeed in what you want to do. You cannot use historical to remove from the lake or add to the lake as a resident. Historical means nothing, okay?
Gotcha. Okay.
We don't, so that's one thing. And to get this simple project through, you need to get a wetland scientist to design it, period.
What do I do when they say, no, it doesn't qualify? Do you have an engineer you like?
Oh, we can't give you an engineer.
Oh.
You know,
That's precisely what we're looking for, is the guidance from a wetland scientist that says that it is or is not, that we
And the
can
10%,
have on an engineered plan. It's been since day one.
Can you tell me under what bylaw you are operating for that request?
That has been my request since day one.
That's your request. What
I
bylaw?
want you
I
need
want
to
a
bring the
bylaw.
evidence in front of me to sway me, to convince me that this, this is,
I am
I
a
have been
resident of
consistent.
Sturbridge. I am not
as-
trying to
as
make
am I.
money on something.
As am I. And I find it interesting that you glared at me when you said family. I grew up in Bangor, Maine.
I know.
I don't have any,
but
I don't have any resident,
thank you.
I don't have any,
I have a third-hand
family.
conversation where you were the person involved, saying you were going to give me a hard time because of the lawsuit, the land court.
No.
Yeah, okay. We're not in court, so it doesn't matter.
But we just ask.
I'm going to bring this to
We ask of you the same we ask of all other people. All other people, whether they come in with a doc request or anything, give us something of kind of design plan. There are engineers that give us the dimensions, and I don't see any dimensions here and any drawing. And
They were in the NOI for the Chapter 91, which you obviously never made it online. They're not in the packages.
I don't, but it's not an
she's
engineered.
asking for a continuation.
Up till October, and I hope maybe the documents will show up.
Every document that you ever submitted, I have, so anything.
Right, but could you put them online in the packages, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1186 at 274 Big Alum Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until October, what?
Third.
Third.
Yep.
Discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
And again, the offer is open. Anytime you want to come up, go for a boat ride, see how your projects are going. And listen to the chainsaws.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Again, we're now on 263 New Boston Road.
Written request for continuation until May 30th.
May 30th. We're going to put all this on May 30th?
I think so, it sounds.
It's gonna be busy.
Perfect for me.
Until midnight.
I was gonna say,
I think Jeff had something to do with
Jeff,
that.
were you writing letters before this?
Motion?
I'd like to make, with regards to DP file number 300-1166, the project at 263 New Boston Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until May 30th.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor? Right, we are now on to 241 and 245 Main Street, paving of a commercial parking lot, DP file number 300-1184. Sturbridge Service Center. And that,
Oh, written continuation to June 20th this time.
Hey, Jeff, you did,
I
give us a
figured
little
which one
bit.
I would change.
That was nice of you. You just change the date in your email?
Correct.
all right. Same deal. Motion?
Regards to DEP file number 300-1184, 241, 245 Main Street, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until June what?
20th.
20th.
I second that.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor? Great.
Okay.
We're now at 36 Champeau Road, continued notice of intent, single-family home, wetland crossing and replication, 300-1194. We have a continuation for this?
Hold on a second for me, guys.
Go back.
Now go down to meeting folder. Yep.
Tell me, was it like this when you were on conservation?
But then again, we were brand new back then.
Less rules to follow?
Huh?
Less
Looks like
rules to
Scott
follow.
is joining us online.
Yes.
It's like on his back deck.
Can I be joining us?
Yes.
Whoa.
For the
Hello, Scott Jordan from Ecotech.
For the record, I
For the record,
am not able to vote on this, but I can participate in the discussion. Okay.
Yes. Floor is,
What?
Floor is named voting in Eric's place for this hearing.
Are we on
36 Champeau Road.
36 Champeau Road? Okay.
Since the last hearing, Scott, they have done their soil testing. Scott provided me the soil testing log. He also provided me a report of the trees, discussion of the trees that they're removing. I did not receive it until yesterday, so I apologize. I haven't had time to review it or provide it to you for review.
Yeah, I apologize for the delay. Thank you.
So, Scott, if there's anything else you'd like to add? Actually, before you start, I wasn't here for the last hearing. I recommend to the board here that we solicit, you have me solicit a peer review for this project. It's a large site with lots of wetlands, crossings. We do not have resources to verify 14 acres sites with wetlands. So I would like you to vote on that this evening, or discuss and vote.
All right, Scott, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Scott Jordan from Ecotech, for the record. I believe Chris McClure is still in the room, project engineer. Representing Kevin Lamy, the applicant, he may actually be online, I'm not certain.
He is.
As Aaron stated, we have some information for you folks. We're still working on revised plans, so we will need to continue. We completed the perk testing last week. Do you folks have that background noise? No?
No.
Okay. Just want to know when I go.
Is the stove on, Scott? No, I'm just.
We have to just design what's septic now that we've got passing perk tests. I think the pollution around us to zoom in on the house location. We'll do a separate sheet for that. And then up front also. We provided a written response to some DEP comments, which were similar to staff comments. With regard to the subdivision of land and accessing the rear, we provided a plan, an overall plan that showed the entire parcel, 42 and 36, and it shows the wetland does bisect the entire property. So crossing of the wetland is absolutely necessary while we're crossing the stream. There was a comment by DEP, thankful width measurement. We measured that in the field. The stream crossing is compliant with stream crossing standards. It more than spans the stream by 120% and provides the required openness ratio. We did provide a tree report, as Aaron mentioned. The commission was looking for some more information. We're looking to remove 3 trees in a 25 to 50-foot area. We provided documentation of those trees. We have a 16-inch black birch, an 18-inch white pine, and an 11-inch white pine. We provided photos of those, and it shows that, again, we will leave the stumps in place as required in bylaw, so we won't have any earth disturbance. It shows that, the photos show that, you know, we're not going to be, there's many, many trees, saplings, and shrubs that will remain. We won't touch those. If you folks have a chance to look that report over before the next hearing, we can discuss further in detail if you'd like. In the 25 no disturbance zone, 25-foot no disturbance zone, we have a white pine that's about 24 feet from the wetland, and a white pine that's about 20 feet from the wetland that we would like to remove because our arborist report, which is attached to the report I submitted, the arborist found that those trees, they're leaning towards the proposed work, and they are decaying below 6 feet. So we're requesting a total of 5 trees to be removed. 2 of them are clearly leaning and decayed and determined to be a hazard. Those are the recent submittals for updated information based upon Aaron's comments and the fact that we're still revising those plans for you folks. We will need to continue, but I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have before that.
Okay. Eric, anything?
No, I'm good. I would, since I only get to comment, I would encourage that we hire a third party to review the site.
Okay. Roy?
That's good.
Carson?
So, how many trees were you removing within the 25 feet and the 50 feet from?
Total of 5. 3 within the 50 to 25-foot zone, and 2 within the 25-foot zone that were deemed to be hazard.
And you would somehow recreate them or plant? You would somehow
replace them.
Replace them?
If that's the commission's wish, we can plant something down there.
And I'm just looking at
25 foot.
Yeah, 25 and 50. You're not supposed to remove the trunks, the stumps, right?
Yeah, we will not. But if you do get a chance, again, we submitted the report kind of late. If you folks get a chance to look through it before the next hearing, we have some photos of the trees and an overall view showing the area that will be in front of the house there, looking down to the pond, showing the many, many trees, saplings, and shrubs left intact.
So you have a perk,
Yes.
an approved perk, and it's on the plan?
No, we have to get it on there. It's one of the revisions we still have to make.
I think the perks were done last Friday.
Friday, they provided me like the report, not the new plan with everything, but.
So when do you feel that you will have a final plan?
Well, at this point, it probably makes sense to wait until, if this does go out to peer review, until that point, in case a flag was moved or something, so. I'm not sure if Aaron has a feeling on, when, a peer reviewer may be available. Certainly, if she could keep Mr. Laney, informed on costs and firms that are, retained.
Generally, it
appreciate
would,
that.
if the board was to vote for me to do that, I would have to bring the information forward to the next meeting for them to vote on
On a peer,
a person, unless you'd like to do that outside a meeting, but I don't recommend that. Considering we are waiting for our new agent to come, and I would just prefer to have that.
well, I'm not up to speed well enough on the overall plan.
I just received it
this point in
yesterday,
time.
the new information, so.
Yeah, I don't know how the rest of you feel.
I have a question. The entrance, the first part of the driveway, that goes in between the two wetlands, is that area accessible right now?
Walk?
Yes.
Yes, we did go out there and take a walk through the site once with a few of the commission.
So
If you'd like to go look, we could arrange something, I'm sure, to go back there.
it's just because sometimes with the mapping of wetlands, you mentioned that they haven't been mapped because of the extent of the property, but like that area.
They have been mapped, it's just that part of the application process is that we sort of verify everything, and it's just a lot to verify.
Yeah, but that entrance part, like that has been like verified is.
Yeah, there's
in
flagging.
between two wetlands
There's
that is not
flagging that you
crossing.
can that you could go take a walk and look at.
And I'm assuming that the center line of the driveway is still there?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, it was-
unless
it was
somebody's,
what, yeah.
taking
Yeah.
stakes, but yeah, it's all staked out, so.
It was all staked out,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted like to
All right,
like that clarification.
Scott, I just wanted to add that I briefly did look over your tree removal report, and generally the commission requires that it's a certified arborist. I did notice just a forester. I don't know if the commission, they haven't had a chance to review it yet, but if there's any comment about that. Generally, when they're looking to see the health and hazard trees, they're looking for a certified arborist report. That's my only comment about the report that I
Yeah.
briefly looked at. I guess I would also just like to add, and looking at this plan sort of with fresh eyes here, if we, due to the fact that the large acreage of the site, have we looked at alternatives for not working in resource areas? Pushing the house further back so that the proposed pool area and disturbance is outside of the 100, or other areas on the property. That's, I guess, my only other comment.
We did provide an alternatives analysis, and I know that Mr. Lamy has done some calculations and stuff regarding the amount of fill. If you look at to the west of the proposed house, there's a valley there, and it would require a lot of filling, grading work if we moved it back. This is 15-ish acres, I believe, maybe more than that. It's essentially a state lot. We're proposing one house that's as a flat area up there. I think some folks saw that during the site walk. Obviously, you perform a view of the pond on the property, and very limited clearing down to the pond. So the amount of grading is really the flat spot on the site. The rest is kind of rolling topography. So the preference is clearly, a view of the pond, and that spot actually requires the least amount of grading.
Can you just look to see what would happen if you just moved it back 20 feet? I don't expect an answer today, but if you moved it back 20 feet, you'd be pretty much out of the 100, still within the 100, 200, and I think you're still on the flat spot. You're gonna be close. And I appreciate the fact that it does drop off, because I remember going up and there's like a ravine. I do appreciate that, and not going too far. You don't want to go into the ravine.
But you can go
Is it possible
a
could you
little
move-
bit to the one side of the ravine.
It would still be on the pond side of that
Right,
ravine.
yeah.
then my only other question that I have, Scott, and I don't know, you're right at the entrance, you have the C wetland line and the B wetland line between the two, and then you're running the
Yeah.
driveway in between. During very high groundwater or very high water, do those connect? And should there be a pipe in between during quote-unquote flooding stages, or they don't really connect at all?
It is gently sloping. I think, Chris, is it two 12-inch pipes proposed through there to maintain any drainage that may occur?
Yeah, we did propose a couple of culverts. I don't know the exact sizes at this time, but we took a look at that, so they'd be at a minimum 12.
All right, but I'd like, you had said continuation, I'd like to get a continuation. We've talked about quite a bit here that needs to be looked at. I think we should hold off on peer, even deciding for a peer review until we've looked at the whole plan. And then we decide.
Ed, can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Is it possible to ask for bids so they're ready for the next meeting? So if you do decide to go with a peer reviewer, then maybe you can just vote on the bids. If you decide not to go with a peer reviewer, then we're not delaying the project at all?
Sure, I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
I think we would appreciate that.
Okay.
and the peer review would be really to verify the delineation of the wetlands.
Yeah.
And folks, I'm happy to reach out there again. I mean, if you look at the substantial wetland system up there to the areas where we're working here are, is just up front there, and then the crossing, and then you just have the edge of the pond at the house. And those are really the only areas that we can in. And again, I'm happy to wait for us out there and show around again if that helps.
Okay. All right. Motion to continue?
When would you like to continue to, Scott? May 30th is our next meeting.
Chris, do you have any input on that?
No, I mean, if they were going to make a determination on a peer review, I'd rather get this stuff in and have it there for May 30th, so we don't put the process off any longer than we have to. So we started working on that septic design already, so we should be able to have that done.
All right.
We'd have to have it 7 days prior to May 30th, just so you know.
23rd.
Yeah.
It's my birthday gift to you.
Motion to continue?
Yeah. It's gonna be you.
Somebody else has to make it.
30th? Continuation to the 30th?
You're making the motion?
I'm making the motion.
You can't.
Okay. Ed can.
No, we can't.
Chair can't?
The chair cannot.
I make the motion to
Okay,
continue.
Floor.
So I'll make a motion.
Oh, Floor just did.
Oh.
Can I do that?
You can do it. I can
Can
second.
you second it? So with regards to DEP file number 300-1194 at 36 Champaign Road, make a motion to
it should be called
continue the public hearing until May 30th.
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion? Now, who's going to be able to vote on this project as of
The only
today?
person that will be able to vote on this project moving forward is Floor, Ed, Karsten, and Roy.
Right, okay.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Gentlemen in favor.
All right. Thanks.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Go Celtics.
We're now at 176 Podunk Road, notice of intent, construction of a garage and driveway, DEP file number 300-1195.
I have proper legal advertisement and a butter notification to open this hearing.
I was ready to approve it last meeting, I don't know what the heck.
I don't know what happened. I should have been here, right?
You didn't have a file number, but now we do.
No.
Oh, yeah, we do now.
No, the
Yeah,
last,
you
no,
know.
the last one
Was
we
postponed.
was postponed.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
So
Okay.
technically, you have not opened the hearing yet.
All right, good, that's good. That way we get more votes. You have anything to say about the project?
No, I just want to welcome welcome to the board. My name is Tom Buell. I'm the homeowner, and I have a vested interest in this project, and that's why I'm here. with
Scott
and
is
Steve
on
will be
still.
presenting. Thank you.
Thank you for
If
coming.
there's any one-offs, maybe I can help.
Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Scott Jordan from Ecotech for the record. And
Oh, I can put the plan up.
I'll wait for Aaron to dig out the plan.
What did I do here?
No, yep. Think. Did the right one.
This is the revised.
What?
Go down.
Jimmy, give us a plan.
Is it showing him?
It's a simple barn.
I know, this one is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another page. Go to the second page.
Oh, you missed the sideways.
No, I went.
Thank you.
All right, Scott.
Another side.
Thank you very much. So this project is a proposed garage with a driveway coming off of the existing driveway. You'll see the bordering vegetated wetland on the page left to the west. It was delineated by Scott Morrison of Ecotech. The project, the only work associated with the project within 100 is a proposed stormwater basin. Now, the basin is not required under state or local regulations. However, Stephen Brissett from Topper, who I think may be on the line, designed it in order to attenuate runoff from new impervious surfaces so that the culvert on the driveway isn't overwhelmed. The 200-foot buffer zone goes right through the middle of the garage. Again, the only work within 100 is stormwater management, not required, but the engineer felt it was a good idea, and no work within 50. Of course, we're providing hay bale, wattle and silt fence, erosion control barriers, DEP comments, requested a stockpile location, which is provided on this revised plan. And I believe that is it. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, Aaron?
No, seems pretty straightforward. Looks like a pretty good plan to me.
Yeah.
What's the material?
What?
Material of the driveway?
Yeah, what's the material of the driveway gonna be?
Gravel, right?
Processed gravel.
Okay.
The driveway is existing.
Carson, anything?
There's a small section of that they're expanding.
I had no problem with it.
I have no issues with the project either.
I guess the only question, you listed the stockpile there, the spoils are gonna be taken off-site afterwards, or are they gonna be reused in the project?
They'll be taken off-site.
Sorry, forgot about that.
So what kind of automobiles are you gonna collect in there?
It's actually for our farm equipment.
For what?
For our farm equipment.
Oh, okay, great, yeah. That's good too, you know?
I'd like to get the-
As long as you get some old stuff and.
Well,
fix
maybe
it up.
someday there'll be something like that.
Anything, no? Anybody in the audience to speak to this? Seeing none?
Well,
Close the public hearing?
With regards to DEP file number 300-1195, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Any motion in favor?
Tassel Stuba in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Send your money in favor.
With regards to the project at 176 Podunk Road, DEP file number 300-1195, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act with the agent's standard conditions, perpetual conditions for stormwater and swale and detention basin, and a certificate of compliance not to be issued until after 2 growing seasons to ensure that the plantings have survived.
And the bond?
That's under the Sturbridge Wetland bylaw.
I second it.
Oh. Go ahead,
There's
Scott.
no plantings proposed, folks.
Oh.
Did I put that on there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that just goes with the, really for the seeding, et cetera, around the basin and the swale.
Oh, okay. I got you. Thank
Site
you.
stabilized.
Yeah, the state stabilized, it's really, right, there's no trees and yet.
I got you.
Yep.
Is that technically a planting, or do I need to amend my?
No, I think it's
Okay.
it's not trees, there's no trees listed on the plan, it's
Right.
just
Okay.
making sure that the swale and the basin are stabilized and seeded and good standing growth.
So seeding is not planting, huh? I'm gonna go home and tell my wife she didn't plant the garden today.
Oh, you know what? We'll add that on.
All right.
Are we good to
I
vote?
didn't mean to interrupt, that's fine.
Underground, yeah.
So Eric Gaspar in favor?
Or Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Send your money in favor.
Sorry. Oh, are you voting on that?
Yes, I'm in voting.
Okay. With regards to the project at 176 Podunk Road, DEP file number 300-1195, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland bylaw with the conditions noted under the Wetland Protection Act and a required surety bond or deposit of $5,000.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Or Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Send your money in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Scott and Steve, thank you.
Can I ask that we skip over to number 14 on the agenda? We have some people patiently waiting to come online.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I'm glad you mentioned
Why
it.
not?
14 now.
14 is the Mass Wildlife discussion regarding the lead mine property.
Oh, is that the letter?
Yeah.
So, back a few meetings ago, we had before us a application for the mountain bike event
Yeah.
that was going to be taking place on the lead mine property and Riverlands. The Board of Selectmen's office and our office received the letter that I provided to you with comments / concerns with in regards to that application and some additional concerns they had. I shared the letter with you, and they just wanted to come on and join the meeting to discuss, to have a discussion about it. So I invited them, we talked about today, they're here now, and I invite them to start the discussion. Oh,
We approved
the mountain biking, yes, and the Board of Selectmen's office did as well.
Yeah.
And they also, Liz joined that meeting. She came in person and talked with the Board of Selectmen when they were going over the project as well.
Yeah.
So Liz, hi. You're up.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you, Edwin?
Good.
It's been a while, certainly since before COVID. And I know you
long
have
before
some
that.
new commissioners. Yeah, before, yeah. I think you have some new commissioners, and I'd like to introduce Todd Alanick, who is the district manager for Sturbridge. All of Worcester County is in our central district, and Todd's based in West Boylston.
Hi, Todd. How you doing?
So,
Yeah.
I thought it might be a good idea to just give a brief history, really brief history of the conservation restriction, since there are a few new commissioners.
So, the property was going to be up for sale in the town, and the state decided to work together to protect it. And if we hadn't partnered then, it would probably be developed, which would have really impacted the town greatly and been detrimental to wildlife conservation in the area and the investment that the state had already made in the wildlife management area nearby. And so with assistance from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Mass Wildlife contributed $1.9 million to the purchase of the conservation restriction, which represents a real property interest in making sure that the purposes of the conservation restriction are upheld. And those are, to keep the land open in a natural and open scenic condition, for fish and wildlife conservation, and for habitat protection, and for recreation that is associated with lands that are kept open and free for the public to use. And also to make sure that any use of the property prevents harm to the many natural resources that are there. So I always make sure when I'm stewarding a property to remind myself of why it was placed in conservation to begin with. So it's those purposes that are really important to understand. And I've worked with the conservation agents over the last few years. I've monitored the property annually, I'd say since about 2016, and had called to attention some recreational trail use that had been inconsistent with a plan that was prepared by Kay Lynn. I think it was the Sturbridge Trunk Trail Line or Trunk Trek. And when that plan was prepared, Mass Wildlife had the opportunity to comment on the proposed trail network. And there was an understanding that was reached between Mass Wildlife and the town that to serve all of the multiple purposes and the multiple recreational opportunities that the property presented, that what was initially shown in the plan was going to be scaled back a bit. And it was substantially. And one of the big takings from that working through with the town was that trail development south of the gas pipeline would be limited to the yellow trail and the orange trail. And I apologize that I didn't send any really great graphics to have Erin pull up for you tonight. But I think some of you are probably familiar with those trails that I'm talking about. And what I've seen over the last few years and noted in correspondence with the conservation agent is an increase in the number of trails, particularly south of the gas pipeline and in areas that are sensitive habitats. And when the request came for a special use permit, Mass Wildlife Todd sent a letter asking, indicating that we were supportive of approving that permit, but on the condition that we would talk with you and get a kind of rescheduling or regrouping in terms of the current trail use, conditions on the ground that we have observed that are inconsistent with the purposes of the conservation restriction, and a long-held understanding with the town about where trails are on the property. So I just wanted to check in with you guys about all of that. So I guess one of the easiest things to have answered is whether or not you've received some notices of intent for some stream crossings, because I was told that was going to come before the commission.
I've been in communication with the Trails Committee, and I know that there are plans on submitting. It just hasn't quite happened yet.
Okay.
Like in the near future, meeting in the maybe for the next meeting.
So are they on the agenda for the next meeting, or
I've
just a discussion
I've
at
had
the next meeting?
conversations with them about filing, working together. I was helping get their filing, get them together, their filing. Yep.
Okay. So there's, I know these things take time, but it's good that there's some progress on that. There's also concern about some trail signage that we saw on the property. that indicated that a trail user would be going onto an unmarked trail. And these are the trails there are a couple that are south of the gas pipeline. And so in our view, those aren't unmarked trails, those are unauthorized trails. And so that concerned us because it seems in direct conflict with an understanding that we had with the Trails Committee. So we just wanted to ask about that as well.
Well, I apologize. I am newer to the game here, and I'm not familiar with any of that while you're discussing. Maybe someone else on the committee here, and we do.
I've been on the committee for a few years, and I think in reading Todd's letter, I agree with it completely. I like the tone of it. I like the, what you're looking for. And I don't think it's inconsistent with what the town's looking for, what Sturbridge is looking for. The Trails Committee, and so we need to, but as I was going through it, I saw that, there's a vernal pool that's being impacted in one location. Now, this is either where there's a
Are you talking about the Opacum letter, or are you talking about the Fish and Wildlife?
Maybe talking about, but it's the same thing. It's the
No.
same, well, it's the same, my premise is the same. If we, we said that the power line was going to be the Maginot Line, and that we were going to stop there, and that the only thing we were going to have, there were two trails that we were going to continue beyond that into the southern part of the that's definitely true. And then the only other thing that we had was that there was some logging to this southwest. There was a logging trail that was either in or going in, or I don't know, Tommy, you might know which one I'm talking about.
We were waiting,
This is Tommy Chamberlain.
yeah, Tom of the Trails Committee.
Yeah.
I haven't seen your letter, so I can't directly speak to it. It has obviously not been shared with the Trail Committee
Yeah.
at all. The signs, I can though speak to the signs you talk about. Those trails existed pre-acquisition of the property. And we have had experiences where people are getting lost or confused. And as we've done in other places, either on that property or on our other property, those trails that are existing, we have not intentionally closed them, but we do put up those signs that you're leaving a marked trail. So that's been our standard practice across all of our open space properties. If you think there's other language we should use, we would be open to, review that language and discuss it with the commission. But that would be a change in how we've managed or, done the trails in all of our properties. We still only maintain the two marked trails, the yellow trail and the orange trail. One is called Seven Ridges and the other one's called Lead Mine. And those are the only two trails we have on our map and that we routinely maintain and care for. We do not do anything on any of the other trails south of the gas line as per our agreement.
So I guess we're maybe, I'm not certain that the trails that I'm referring to existed prior to the recording of the conservation restriction.
We can document that.
Yeah, so that's the other thing, and I remember talking to somebody from the Trails Committee that there was some capacity limit in terms of the town being able to GPS the trails that were on the property, and certainly DCR Trails grant would be able to help you with that work. So we would more than happily sign off on the application for that to help understand the existing trail network and the use on the property. I know that there's one little loop in there that is certainly new, and other trails that I have seen that I think are new on the landscape only because they are rerouting around a stream crossing that needs to be upgraded. So again, I'm glad to hear about that. But I'd like to see the documentation, because I don't have any documentation of the trails that I'm thinking of that are off of that yellow and orange trail. And then there's another one, I called to the commissioner's attention, that's further north, that I can send some information. If it's not in your files, I'm happy to resend that. Looks like there was a deer run that a mountain biker rode on and then rode again and then again and again, and after a while it becomes a trail.
I think it's the white
And it's
trail.
just a very unstable
that the
area,
white trail,
very
Tony?
sensitive habitat.
We don't have a white trail, so.
The one that the kids made that goes down the side of the stream?
Well, we know there's some workarounds, the Seven Ridges Trail.
Yeah.
Which we that's the NOI that hopefully will be before you for your next meeting.
Yeah.
We've been working very diligently to pull all of the drawings together and get get everything done, that meets the design standards and everything for the commission to review. So I know there's some workaround trails. Again, north of the gas line, there were some trails that, again, existed at the time. Matter of fact, Ed, you may remember Dave Aho.
Yeah, I do.
Dave actually went in and mapped all of those trails prior to there being a trail committee. Okay?
Yep, no, I haven't.
So at the time of acquisition, that's the map I'm referring to, and I'll be glad to provide that. We have a copy of that in our files. Okay? Since then, we have GPSed the trails north of the gas line, and that is part and parcel of the presentation we want to come before the commission with in a short time frame.
Okay. And then in terms of the master trails plan that was prepared by Kaylin that has, all of the colored trails and the ones that you're referring to versus the ones that were existing prior to the acquisition of the conservation restriction, some people use the trails plan differently. Some people look at the trails that are on a plan, the ones that they agree they want to have on the landscape, and they actively maintain those trails. And the other ones, they just kind of let be. And sometimes they persist on the landscape because people keep using them. Other land managers close them because they don't want them. They took a hard look at a property, they did a good evaluation of the trail network, and they pinpointed the ones that they want to have. What is the town of Sturbridge's approach with the master trail plan for this property?
So, first of all, Liz, when we proposed that conceptual plan, and that was nothing more than a conceptual plan, we invited Fish and Wildlife to participate in a number of discussions while that plan was being developed, and unfortunately, your agency chose not to participate until the final day of the adoption, and then present your objections and issues that you saw with that conceptual plan. So it is a conceptual plan, and as you've noticed, we have moved away from a good number of the trails that were proposed in that conceptual plan. We, as a trail committee, found them to be too many, clearly, which, okay, in short term, we're just too many, okay? And what we have done is, obviously, we have been working as best we can as a volunteer board in trying to build not only the trails on that property, but as has been requested by your agency, developing trails on other properties that we own that you do not hold a CR interest on, so that we can diversify the people using our trails. And we have been doing that, and I think the commission is well aware of all of our initiatives on approximately 6 other properties that we're moving trails on. So as a volunteer board, we are now working on 6 different properties simultaneously in trying to move trail initiatives forward on different properties at different rates and different types of trail experiences too. So, which is basically all part of the grand plan of that conceptual plan, is to get up to and over 50 miles of trails in the town of Sturbridge. And that's what we're working towards.
So if the Kalen was a conceptual plan, do you have a current plan for lead mine?
We have a current plan that was the plan that was before this board at the meeting that you attended back in the 2018-20 time period. That was the plan then, which is where we agreed, where we made the agreement not to do anything south of the gas line. And that's the plan we've been working on. And, and that's, part of that was the Seven Ridges Trail, which is a yellow trail north of the pipeline, which still has a number of stream crossings. And that's the main focus of the NOI we're preparing, so we can get in there and bring that particular trail up to the standards that are proposed in that master plan. And, eliminate those side trails and everything. So, it's a work in progress.
No, I understand. So one of the concerns that you probably share with us is, since 2018-19, the use of, everybody's phone, and everybody can go out on a trail and use multiple apps to record whether they're doing a run or a mountain bike ride or a hike. And all of a sudden, what you as a trail manager had been trying to work towards over the years is now augmented by what people find and create on the landscape themselves.
Yeah.
So I wondered, how do you guys work with those kinds of trail data in trying to manage your property?
We reach out to them as often as we can, either through personal connections, because some people, I believe it's Trail Forks, they have regional people that have access to, massage or adjust the data that's submitted. And we have continually reached out to them. They change, they take a trail away, we check the map, it's gone. A month later, it's back on their map again. Yeah. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Okay? Yeah. As you know, you have that same problem on a number of your properties. And I would ask, how successful have you been?
I don't know that anybody at the state has the capacity to contact the individual providers, the platform providers, to let them know. We've worked with municipal regional planning agencies and talked with them about some of the maps that they've produced. But I don't know, Todd, I don't know if you're aware of any of the districts, if the other districts have been in touch with Trail Forks or OnX or All Trails or Strava
All Trails we have not been able to make any contact with, and people put false information all the time. It's amazing where the Blue Lagoon is on a completely different trail because that's what somebody said, and All Trails just publishes it. And, that's actually detrimental because now people are almost getting lost, because they look at our map, they see the trail name, they go hiking that trail, and where's the Blue Lagoon? It's not there. And, that's a classic example. So, yeah, we are struggling with that But we try to reach out to the Trail Forks people. We did have a couple contacts, and we seem to be getting some, some corrections of the trails, but it's an ongoing work in progress.
We share your frustration, for certain. I think I have one last question, and then I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. And that is, do you think that there would be an opportunity to restore to a more natural condition some of the trails that are not consistent with the agreement that Mass Wildlife had to limit trails south of the gas pipeline, and also to restore trails that have been used as side routes once the stream crossings have been improved?
We can definitely, I can speak and say we'll definitely restore the trails that are the side loops once the crossings are in place. We have tried in the past, not, at a regular basis, but on an occasional basis, probably maybe 3 or 4 times in the last 8 or 9 years. So not consistently, to close and block off the trails. But when we go back, other people go in with chainsaws and, or we moved rocks a couple times and they'll just make a go around the rocks. It's pretty hard to discourage mountain bikers sometimes, that if they're just, so set and focused on continuing to use that trail. If you know of other methods we could try, would be willing definitely to, have a conversation with that and see what else we can do. But and that's what's led us to put those signs, because the people keep reopening the trail and they're not on our maps, they're not marked, okay? And that has been our attempt to at least help people know that, you want to take this trail, you're walking off of our system that's marked, that, we maintain and everything. So like I said, if there's a different wording, for the signs, I'm sure, we would engage in that.
Maybe unmarked and unauthorized trail. Yeah. And also, I know the New England Mountain Biking Association had requested the permit, and I've worked with them in the past, not in my current role, but I know that they're great advocates and that they want to make sure that lands that they are riding on can stay open for them. So I think that they, not only do they do great trail work to build trails, but I think if you ask them to help you close down trails that you don't want people riding on, then I think they would help you do that as well. It might not be what they want to do, but this is a tough property because there are so many multiple resources that need to be protected and so many different types of recreation that the landscape is supposed to provide. And we're just trying to make sure that we're finding that balance. And it seemed like that gas pipeline was a good way to try and do it. So we're just trying to find a way to try and continue to make that work.
So I mentioned we are trying to make new connections with Trail Forks. One of the principals in forming the recent chapter here in Sturbridge does have that contact with that person in Trail Forks directly. So we've re-engaged with them to, try to get those trails off. And, matter of fact, when I had last looked at a Trails Forks map, one of the names that they had for one of those trails, I just wasn't even appropriate for a town name. Right. So yeah, it's very, very, very frustrating.
Okay. Well, I thank you for your time. I thank you for all the work that you've been doing all these years to help people access the property. And I guess the only thing that I would close with is that a lot of the people that I work with also enjoy working and being on the landscape without trails. And I was just out bushwhacking in another part of Sturbridge today and found an endangered species, which was really exciting. So it's important for us to remember that not all properties need trails on them, and not all parts of property need trails. So we appreciate your consideration in this matter.
You didn't touch it, did you?
I took a lot of pictures. No, I didn't touch it.
Can I ask what species and where?
It was a spotted turtle.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Well, I know they've been delisted in Massachusetts, but they're up for federal listings, so that's really exciting.
That's great.
I have a question for you on the
Oh,
brook,
okay.
Hammett Brook. That was never finished.
The dam restoration project, we'll have to, I'm sorry, we'll have to bring that up with our fisheries section. I really know nothing about that.
Yeah, that's what they
I
say.
really, they say the
Everybody
same
says
thing?
they don't know anything
At
about
least you
it.
might know some people over there.
I could, if I showed you the plan for that you put together for the destruction of the ponds and the straightening out of the brook and the entrance to the Quinnebog, they did everything but the entrance to the Quinnebog. There is nothing that can migrate up that brook from the Quinnebog because of it's a 10-foot drop.
That doesn't sound like it was supposed to be that way.
It wasn't.
I
It's on
don't, I know nothing about the project. I really don't. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
all right, then I won't.
You haven't had any response from the fisheries section when you talked with them?
Todd
away
Richards,
from him.
Todd Richards doesn't like me.
Oh,
So, because I've mentioned it so many times. When are you gonna come back and finish?
I'm sorry, I can't speak to it.
Okay, no, you don't need to go there.
Okay.
But how do we move this forward where we, if you have anybody out on our trails and you come across something, the more specific we can be, particularly through conservation, to getting, because like Tommy said, there are a number of loops that they're putting in to get away from wetlands.
Yes.
And where we're doing that, that's one thing, but if there's areas where there is damage to wetlands, where we want to know about it.
Okay. And also, I would just ask that the commission submit copies of the notices of intent just for our records for future when Todd and I have won the lottery and we've decided we're going to buy an island.
We don't do that now?
Well, I haven't gotten any, but when I get them, I will.
Okay, all right.
I'll email it to you.
We've had them in the
Yeah, that'd be
past.
great.
Whenever
Whenever they're finalized, we just like to have copies of notices of intent on conservation restriction properties.
That's
Just
reasonable.
for,
That's
just for
good.
records.
All right.
Thanks, Liz.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, under correspondence, number 13, I just wanted to share with you a letter I received from Opakam Land Trust with concerns on some things at the Riverlands property. The Riverlands property is under care and custody of not Conservation, Board of Selectmen, but just because of the nature of the concerns, we were copied on it, and I took it upon myself to contact Trails, see if I could go out there and we could kind of take a look at the areas. They had concerns that Opakam had some concerns over, so I was able to go, and I was able to view there were 3 areas listed in the letter. There was a vernal pool that had a straw wattle that had failed. Straw wattle has since been replaced, and looks like, they addressed that. The Trails had addressed that area. There were some other crossings that were done. They are aware that that someone that did not have authorization to create these areas had done it without permission, and they're working to fix those areas, and they're going to provide a narrative to the Conservation Department on how the areas will be repaired. And then there's some sloped areas, like in corners of trails, that the flow trail areas that the slopes were like not stabilized, and they have since been seeded, and the grass is starting to grow in, and it looks like, hopefully that all those areas will be addressed. And I also will reach out to the town administrator's office, because the encroachment from the neighboring property, that's something they should, since they have care and custody of the property, they should reach out to that person and make a plan for that.
Okay.
Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just,
You want to come to a mic so that people can hear you?
should I come to this one or?
Sure, whichever.
Yeah, Lainey Wilder with Opakam Land Trust, and just wondering.
Sit down.
I don't bite.
Tommy bites.
So great, I'm glad to hear that, you guys had gone out and looked at some of those things. It'd just be great to, when some of these things complete, just let me know, so I'm not like
Yep.
sitting here wondering, did they do something or not? Should I go walk out there or so? So yeah, just let me know, when you guys are looking at stuff or not, so I have some closure to know that they were addressed, so yeah, and that
I
was.
just had time this week. I'm kind
Okay.
of behind here a little.
No, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, the encroachment from the abutter, I wasn't sure, because it's under the care and custody of the select board. I'm not quite sure how the town wants to handle that, or how you've handled how you've handled that in the past, because I was made aware it's been an issue. So
Which one are we talking about?
that's 92 Stallion Hill Road. Trustee of Pamela Soper. Maybe I spelled that wrong. But,
Yep, okay.
yeah, it's right when you go to the top of the cistern.
I know where it is.
At the flow trails. Yeah. So yeah.
Probably gonna make another trip out there at some point when it gets a little further along, and I'll make sure I make you aware of what
Okay, yeah, just, even if it's just like, hey, we've addressed this, this and this, if you want to wait and just
Yeah.
send me everything at once,
Yeah.
that's fine. It's helpful for me to know that you guys have had a chance to look at or address, some of the things we were thinking of. And I had been talking with, Brendan for the trail stuff too, so, we met on March 8th to address some stuff, and in supporting the bike event as well, so, yeah.
How are you guys doing?
How are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Busy, keeping busy for sure, but working on different projects across the region.
Any new parcels?
Not yet. We're a little stalled with the conservation restriction review at the state level with some of our projects because they're behind on that. But we are working on a project in Brimfield. It was a former Camp Scout site called Sleepy Hollow, so we're really excited about that project and applied for a trails grant as well to do phase 1 of assessing trails there and maybe our hope is to have an accessible trail eventually, but I appreciate that takes a lot of time and money to do, and it would be.
You can loan Tommy to you.
Yeah.
I've already done some work with them with Munson.
Right,
It'd surprise me if you hadn't.
Yeah, so as you guys know how trail grants go, we're waiting to hear back on that, and we'll see what happens with that, but, so that's just right next door in Brimfield, and, so, yeah, not a huge update, but, yeah, and, always happy to help or chat or whatever, so just let me know,
Nice.
with anything for conservation, so, yeah.
So, you still on Street or do you live on?
Oh, the office?
Yeah.
The office is at Hitchcock Free Academy in Brimfield.
Yeah, no, I know. But
okay.
you live,
Oh, I live in Brimfield.
oh, I thought you lived
No,
in Sturbridge.
no, I live in Brimfield, right off.
Somebody else in that meeting that way?
Maybe. I think.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah. I live in Brimfield, but I come to Sturbridge a lot, so.
That was it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right, we need to go back to number 10 on wetlands decisions. 150 Charlton Road, it was a request for a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 300-0665. That came up when we had a project before us for a new project before us for the same address. We issued an enforcement order so they could clear up that old DEP file number. Glenn Kowalski has put in an application for a certificate of compliance due to staff limitations and staff limitations. I haven't gotten a chance to go out there and verify anything, so I'd like to put it on our next site visit schedule.
Okay,
Take
great.
the commission out there, we'll verify that the conditions are what they are, and we'll vote on it at the next meeting.
Should I bring my hip boots, Ed?
So how long
Should I bring
will
my
our
hip
next
boots?
site
I think
visit-
so,
Our
yeah.
next site visit might be a little bit longer than typical, but,
Don't look at me.
Don't look
Like
at
an
you.
infinite one.
okay. And then, next enforcement orders, I don't have a specific address listed on here, but you did issue an enforcement order when I was gone, right? Or that was
Yes.
prior to.
One Bennett?
I did receive an email correspondence from the owner giving a brief detail of what he's proposing. Unfortunately, he's not here like we had asked, so I'm going to reach back out to him and ask that he comes possibly to our next meeting to discuss it with you. But he did provide me an email actually, he provided Jeff an email correspondence.
Yeah, so I think actually in the enforcement order was for him to have a plan so that to submit by the 23rd, so it would be on the 30th.
Yeah.
Just because when we issued the enforcement order, it would have given him like 8 days to get somebody to do a plan and come up with what he thought.
Yeah.
Aaron and I did meet with him after we issued the enforcement order to explain the reason for the enforcement order and gives him the ability to come up with a plan so that he can close that out.
Did he understand it?
I think so.
Good.
I mean, commission's gonna wanna know how many trees.
We have pictures.
Yeah, we don't know if there was 2, 3, 4. He came out and said 3, and
6.
The stumps are no longer there, so I don't really know. And
Did that after we told him to stop.
yeah, I don't know.
Get the pictures and issue the enforcement order at the same time, essentially?
We took, well, no, we took the
No, we gave him a
pictures
cease and
before.
desist first and then issued him an enforcement order at the meeting.
correct.
Yeah.
So the stumps were already, they weren't, when we gave him the enforcement order, the stumps were already gone.
Yeah.
But were they gone when we gave them the cease and desist?
The day I went there to view the area, when I got the complaint, they were still there.
Correct.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess we're under new business. I have a few things, I guess, or agent report or whatever. So today I had an opportunity to I had to go out to Paradise Lane. Got a complaint about some silting from construction sites on that street. We have 4 open permits on that road right now. Due to the large amounts of rain yesterday, there were some siltation that came out of a construction site, went down a hill, entered a wetland, entered the lake a little bit, entered another person's property. So I'd asked Ed to come out with me, and we took a look. We worked a plan with both contractors to immediately fix their erosion controls, how we can prevent this from happening in the future, make sure that we have, proper erosion barriers in place. There's a homeowner that is kind of in the middle of all that, that's a little unsatisfied with that, but I'm working on it. there anything else you can think of?
I don't think so.
Did the erosion controls fail because of the just sheer volume and the velocity, or were they improperly?
One of the construction sites is on a kind of a steeper slope, and unfortunately, due to the limitations of the site, there's nowhere for the people to have a vehicle or any constructions without moving.
You know, they're putting up a log cabin on Paradise
You have
as you
to
go down
move
the hill on
the
the
erosion
right-hand
control.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hillside, that area that they excavated and filled is washing down all the way to the end of Paradise and then into the lake there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, is
You
this?
couldn't make them put a silt fence. It could only be a straw wattle, and the straw wattle. Even yesterday's rain, I told people I don't think God himself probably couldn't stop the
They
silt.
weren't there.
Well, no.
It was pretty aggressive. but-
Backyard is full of bark mulch right now, so yes, I get it.
but still, it's the onus of the contractor to keep your silt on your site. So, if it rains a lot, you gotta prepare for that.
So do we need to do anything to make sure that that gets?
Well, I told them to silt at the edge of the excavation and then silt it, not silt fence, wattles. The edge of the excavation and then close the site off with wattles every night.
Don't drive on them.
Don't drive on them. Yeah, we'll see. And I don't know what we'll ever do with the one.
68 Paradise, the one I brought you to,
Yeah.
that past site visit. I met with the head contractor and the owner today, along with Ed, and they are calling an engineer to help them come up with a better plan. You have a right in the order of conditions to kind of adjust our order according to, the site, and right now, the plan that we approved at the meeting is not functioning good enough. So they're gonna work on something else to provide us for our next meeting to discuss. I think
30th.
that's about it. Our new agent is starting on May 20th. And so Jeff this is it for Jeff. He's joining us for this meeting, and then, I don't know when.
Well, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Consider us when you're messing around with Central Mass Regional Planning.
I will.
okay, We know where you live now.
The next site visit schedule on that Wednesday, if people have, maybe we can put a 2-part if somebody has to leave for work or something, but, Trails is providing 3 notice of intents at the next meeting. I don't know if we want to go look at all those areas, but it will be going.
Well, that Trails notice of intents of what, for the bridge?
3 different areas, one in Riverlands, one at,
The one that Liz was
Lead-
talking about,
lead mine.
where they're doing repairs.
I mean, it's very far. I told the Trails maybe I could just go and take pictures and report back, or, okay,
Yeah.
as long as nobody.
Brandon is very optimistic about what he thinks he's gonna get done, and he's buried.
So we might not have them for next meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm telling you, that's personal. Okay. That's not him saying it. He'd say for sure he can get it.
I think that's everything.
Make
Right.
a motion to adjourn?
Second. What is the time?
All in favor?
Yes.
All in favor?
Favor.
Gentlemen in favor?
Yeah.
All in favor?
And I'm gonna make sure that I don't take this time.
Can we switch this off?